something happened to Yanis Varoufakis. People ask me, how can they indict you for saying you took an ecstasy pill 36 years ago in Australia? Are they mad? No, folks, they are not mad. This has nothing to do with drugs, with the law, with anything related to my actual interview. It's a reflection of what has been happening in the politics across the West with Greek characteristics. Unlike in most European countries, where new ultra-rightist parties emerged to undermine the traditional center-right party, e.g. the FD in Germany, Reform in the UK, Meloni's brothers in Italy, or Le Pen in France. In Greece, the mainstream Tory equivalent party, New Democracy, remains dominant in the polls and in public discourse. The reason behind this success is that they keep neo-fascists in their midst. Indeed, Mitsotakis, the prime minister, gave them top ministerial posts, e.g. in the health and migration, to keep them sweet. You sound like Antonio Banderas? What do you mean? He sounds like that. Does he not? He sounds like that. I'm showing him this. Don't show him this. That's embarrassing. I want you guys to hold on to your butts, because what you're about to see is unparalleled charisma, a sexual dynamo, a deity in the like, a deity in the making, a panther. Chuck Schumer talks about the State of the Union in the floor of the Senate. Let's take a look.
Last night was not America's State of the Union. It was Donald Trump's state of delusion. For 2 long hours, the president stood in the House chamber, congratulating himself, inflating his own ego, but offering no solutions to our country's many problems. He's in a bubble. He doesn't even have a clue about what the average American family is going through. Donald Trump patted himself on the back so many times, I thought he'd fall down. While Donald Trump kept claiming that America is back and that we're, quote, winning so much we don't know what to do about it, that's only half true. We are not winning so much, but he sure has no idea what to do about the problems in America, and he admitted it right there himself.
Can he say that? Can he say that? Bro, dial it back, Chucky. Dial it back, Chuck. Oh my God, bro. He's roasting him. He's roasting his ass, bro. That's crazy.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
Is this legal? Flag on the play. Flag on the play, bro. This is the strongest of the strongly worded letters, you know?
People back home were asking something different than what the speech addressed. They're asking, what about my electricity bill? How am I going to pay for my groceries? How am I going to afford a doctor? Donald Trump ignored all these things during his speech last night. Frankly, I've never heard a State of the Union speech, and I've heard quite a few, where the president's rhetoric and the country's reality were so far apart.
Yo, dude. God, he's so fucking goated. This guy's gonna save the nation, dude. Damn, he really daggered the old man. He was like, Mr. President, cut it out. There's a dang Cheeto in the White House. This condemnation is reaching China harshly condemning Israel levels. No. This doesn't even reach that standard. Let's be real. Let's be fucking real. This doesn't even hit the trade maxing standards of China. It's awesome, dude. Let's get into the Hillary Rodham Clinton conversation, the deposition that took place as Hillary Clinton testified she had no idea of Epstein's crimes. We'll start there first, and then we'll move on to some other major stories. There's certainly a lot going on in the world, so let's get right into it.
Epstein's list of powerful friends never fails to shock. And among the most powerful of all, former President Bill Clinton, pictured in a jacuzzi, swimming pool, and on a private plane. The Epstein files have no photographs of his wife Hillary Clinton with the billionaire paedophile. She does not think they ever met. But still, she was summoned first to take questions from US lawmakers investigating Epstein's crimes. The House Oversight Committee's Republican chair said there was no suggestion of wrongdoing by the Clintons, but he wanted answers about Epstein.
How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world? Was he an asset for our government or any other government?
Hillary Clinton has admitted that she did know Ghislaine Maxwell well enough that you can see.
Yep. Remember this? Remember this? I've talked about this a lot. It's crazy. They're playing my greatest fucking hits over here for like the last decade, you know? These are some of my greatest hits over the last decade, and now it's on mainstream news. It's crazy. Larry Summers resigned. A lot of ops are falling left and right. Pretty fucking solid.
Here, she attended her daughter Chelsea's wedding. But she released an opening statement on social media saying she had no idea about Epstein's criminal activities, adding, "I never flew on his plane or visited his island." She said if this committee is serious about learning the truth, it should ask Donald Trump directly, under oath, about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files.
How's it going?
It would not waste time on fishing expeditions.
Hell yeah.
What is being held back, she asked. Who is being protected? And why the cover-up? The deposition took place behind closed doors, with video expected later. But it was briefly disrupted when this photograph from inside was leaked.
Fucking Lobo took a sneak peek, a candid of Hillary Rodham Clinton, and then sent it to fucking Benny Johnson. And then Benny Johnson watermarked the shit out of the photo and blasted it on the timeline. My God, we are run by fucking animals. This is a country that is straight up on autopilot. There is no other way to approach it, okay? We have truly 10 IQ troglodytes in positions of profound power. Lauren Boebert is one of these people, okay? Absolute fucking clown show. First of all, if you're going to do a sneak peek, you might as well record some of the most damaging parts that they might actually try to strike from the record. You know, fuck it. If you're going to do this, if you're going to violate the rules, if you're going to violate the process, do it for something good. Like when they ask Hillary Clinton a question and her answer is off the record, you know, because that's something that happened with Les Wexner's deposition. Les Wexner was directly asked about Jeffrey Epstein's close relationship with Donald Trump, and they went off the fucking record.
To a conservative commentator. Speaking outside, committee Democrats said they were glad Hillary Clinton was taking questions, but agreed with her that there is a sense of a cover-up protecting others.
If the most powerful people in the United States of America, the elite and rich and powerful men and women, are able to get away with these heinous crimes, then we are sending a horrible message to young people in this country that powerful people will always protect themselves and the rule of law does not apply to everyone.
Questions are still being asked about Trump himself, who was once close to Epstein. The president says the files totally exonerate him, but there are reports that key material relating to a woman who made an accusation about the president could be missing. Lawmakers like Congressman...
Missing. Huh. Missing. Yeah, it needs more watermarks law. Yeah. The full photo is insane. Full shot of the Clinton Epstein testimony currently ongoing. What a psycho, dude. Like, this is insane. Calling Bill and Hillary was a mistake by the idiot Republicans. This just put the story back in the news. I know. I mean, it's not going away, man. It's not going away. Every other day, there's like anytime there's like a liberal institution that at least takes itself seriously enough, that applies some scrutiny to people that are mentioned in the Epstein files, it all of a sudden gets back into the news. It gets back into the forefront of the news. There's so much going on there. It's such a target-rich environment of pedophilic elites that it's impossible not to keep this story in the headlines, right?
Johnny Olszewski are trying to dig out information. He took up a Department of Justice offer to search the files without redactions and saw things blacked out that shouldn't have been.
Clearly protecting those who were involved and accused of terrible things.
And those are just the files that have been released. A Channel 4 News investigation suggests they could amount to only 2% of the total.
The extent to which our government continues to withhold these documents is incredibly disturbing and makes me think that it really feels that this is a cover-up worse than Watergate, which was the seminal moment in American politics.
And you say it's like Watergate. Is it going to bring down a president?
Again, I think if the potential crimes and the potential activities that are hinted at are actually chased down and found to be true, it absolutely will bring down this president, as it should bring down any president. I think if it's tracked down and found to be true, it will bring down cabinet secretaries, it will bring down a Supreme Court justice, it will bring down members of Congress. And that's how it should be.
President Trump has always denied wrongdoing, while the Department of Justice...
He looks positively slim in this photo. I do have to say he's kind of slaying. Okay, no disrespect to anybody else, but I know it's not relevant, but he's looking slim. He's looking slim thick.
...has made clear that being in the files does not imply guilt. There are no accusations against Bill Clinton, but his clear association with Jeffrey Epstein will be the subject of questions tomorrow as this scandal continues to unfold. Hillary and Bill Clinton are the first people to have been effectively forced to appear at a deposition, and you can hear in Hillary Clinton's statement that she has read out to lawmakers that she is absolutely furious about that. She thinks it is political. She has said to them, you've made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the files. And when one billionaire businessman, Lex Wexner, was questioned, Republicans didn't even turn up. She's talked about spending her life devoted to, women and girls, talking about meeting girls as young as 12 forced into prostitution, calling it a global scourge with an unimaginable human toll. And she has argued that if this is really about the survivors, then all the Epstein files should be out there. I mentioned in the piece that there's been reporting here from the New York Times and also from NPR suggesting that files relating to Donald Trump might be missing, but our own investigations show that the FBI discussed taking in way more files than we have seen, and that is why people feel that this could be a cover-up.
What? So is Bill Feinman going to jail? Fuck no. I have long maintained the position that this is MAP, mutual assured pedophilia destruction. Okay, it's mad theory, but for instead of nuclear arms, we're talking about leaking the pedophile files, right? And I think that's what's like holding it together. But the problem is, because this is an international conspiracy, because Jeffrey Epstein had entanglements with so many other countries, there are always going to be other countries that go, this is not great for us. We have to maintain a presence of law and order. So you got like in Norway, princelings getting the boot. You have in the UK some potential justice being served, right? And when that happens, that applies pressure to the American government, okay? That applies pressure to the American institutions, because then people go, wait a minute, in the fucking United Kingdom, they're actually going after their people. They're going after their Jeffrey Epstein affiliates. Why are we not doing that? This was a similar pressure applied in the issue of Israel, where in European capitals, you had people protesting against their government saying like, why the fuck are we letting Israel do a genocide? Get the fuck out of here. Like, do something about this. And that was the reason why a lot of European leaders had to come out and release statements about, soft condemnations of Israel or offer some recognition to Palestinian statehood, conditional recognition to Palestinian statehood. But like, they were moving away from America on this issue, which is why Trump had to go in and be like, all right, we're going to do a fake ceasefire, right? And that's kind of what's happening here as well, where there's more scrutiny and more pressure in European countries towards their Jeffrey Epstein affiliates, and that creates an environment where Americans start pressuring the American institutions where Jeffrey Epstein was like heavily involved with said American institutions like Harvard, right? Larry Summers was deeply involved with Jeffrey Epstein. We've known this for years and years. And now Harvard, in an effort to save face, is forcing Larry Summers to fucking resign. Oh my God. Zohran Mamdani just got off the phone with President Trump. In our meeting earlier, I shared my concerns about Columbia student Elena Agayeva, who was detained by ICE this morning. He has just informed me that she will be released immediately. That's fucking incredible, dude. That is incredible. Fantastic shit. He made the boss call. Mashallah, mashallah. That's pretty fire, I will admit. The brown boy superpower of unk whispering. Yeah, Trump fucking loves him, dude. Holy shit. How the fuck is one dude doing more than the whole Democratic Party? Respect. Respect. He's plowing snow and he's doing it. He's doing the damn thing, you know? It's hard not to give him praise, you know? Yeah, I saw this photo. It's fucking awesome. I had a productive meeting with President Trump this afternoon. I'm looking forward to building more housing in New York City. Ford to city, drop dead. Vows he'll veto any bailout. Trump to city, let's build. Backs new era of housing. Trump delivers 12,000 plus homes. Most since 1973. He's so... Dude. Zohran Mamdani is exactly the person that Trump would love to win favor with. Remember when I told you that Donald Trump's greatest anger and resentment towards elite liberals stems from the fact that New York elite society, the intelligentsia, the artists, and the old money benefactors of all of these different like artistic initiatives in the city of New York never recognized the Trump family as a part of the elite. The socialites never actually wanted to hang out with him. They always considered him to be crude and brash, of poor taste, nouveau riche. That's where a lot of his anger comes from. Zohran Mamdani, on the other hand, did something that Barack Obama never did, which is just kind of talk to him normally. Because Zohran is a person who was welcomed by the cultural elite very quickly. I mean, it makes sense. He's a well-dressed guy. He's well-spoken. He comes from that background. His father is a fucking academic. His mother is a very famous movie director, right? So he is very clearly a part of that movement, okay? He's very clearly a part of this group that Donald Trump desperately wants to win favors with. And I think a part of the reason why Donald Trump is fascinated with Zohran seemingly is because Zohran Mamdani is I guess not as like repulsed by him. Like he has a way of communicating with him that because he has to fucking play ball because Trump is the president. He has a way of communicating with him in this charming manner that isn't like it isn't like outwardly repulsed. That I think Donald Trump just responds this way to whatever he's doing and offers him whatever he wants. A real hog whisperer, if you will. Not hostile, but also not submissive. Yes. Not like overtly hostile. The same shit Putin does to him, manipulation. Yeah. You never get something for free from Trump. I think part of the reason why he's doing it is because he wants to lean into affordability. He recognizes it's an area that is really devastating for him. What he doesn't realize is that giving Zohran whatever Zohran wants in terms of like affordability is going to give him like a little boost in the press, but it's also going to cause resentment amongst his base. He's going to be like, oh, so you're building housing in fucking New York? Why won't you do that in Missouri? But I don't think Donald Trump gives a shit about that right now. I think he's like so desperate to get some positive coverage or so desperate to associate himself with like actual affordability initiatives that he will do stuff like this. All over, the reports just got dropped by the Perfect Union that they wouldn't let him into the Bohemian Club either. Hence why people believe this anger about the draining of the swamp because it's genuine. He couldn't get into these elite spaces. I've said this for fucking years. I recognized this when Donald Trump came out with that famous tweet talking about Sissy, Great, and Carter not having cool Vanity Fair parties anymore. No man that runs around talking about the Sissy, Great, and Carter's Vanity Fair parties is a man that is from the heartland, that cares about like the average fucking working class American, the average American reactionary living in the Rust Belt. Okay? I've been saying this for years. He always wanted to be welcomed into elite society, and his resentment towards the cultural elite that happened to be liberal or even more radical than liberal comes from the fact that these elite circles never welcomed him because they thought he was like rude and a disgusting slumlord. Okay, that's it. So there are a multitude of different factors here. Obviously, one of them is that he wants to be associated with like doing something in terms of affordability in the realm of housing. But the other reason is because Zohran is welcomed by those forces. I mean, you've seen it. Like he goes to like the he's the mayor of New York City. Trump obviously cares about New York City. He also hangs out with these like cool celebrities and shit. You know what I mean? And it's also additionally ironic that his only fucking experience with the New York cultural elite is currently making him incredibly unpopular, because his only entry point into the New York cultural elite was through Mar-a-Lago, through Jeffrey Epstein. And now that affiliation and that association is being called into question anyway. So he doesn't even have the cool factor in that regard, right? So he's cooked. And that's what's going on here. Is a W because it's proof that local organizing can achieve results no matter who the big boss is? Yeah.
Quote, "We got you," spelled with a U, the letter. That's what the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands told Jeffrey Epstein just months before Epstein's arrest in 2019. And obviously, of course, more than a decade after he was already convicted of soliciting a minor for prostitution back in 2008. Newly released Justice Department documents show that as regulators investigated unauthorized construction on one of Epstein's 2 private islands, issuing stop work orders and weighing potential fines, Epstein appealed directly to the island's governor for help. Text messages uncovered by K-Files show Governor Albert Bryan Jr. telling Epstein he had asked one of the regulators to, quote, hold everything until speaking with him, and later sought the recusal of the commissioner overseeing the dispute. K-Files' Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. And, you know, Andrew, this is so important as we get to the heart of Jeffrey Epstein and how he had the power and money that he had and how he wielded it, and this entire circle. So this gets to the influence and how he wielded it. What do these messages reveal?
Yeah, and you hit it right there. These messages, they offer a rare window into how Epstein operated in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where he leveraged his wealth, business footprint, and promises of investment to try to influence local officials. Now, I want to give people a little background here. Epstein had deep roots in the Virgin Islands. He bought his private island, Little St. James, in the 1990s. He later expanded. You can see them both there. He later expanded his footprint in 2016 and purchased neighboring Great St. James. And the permits show that he had plans to build docks, roads, residencies, and other development. And this is where these texts with the governor come into play. Now, by December 2018, regulators were scrutinizing construction on Great St. James. The Virginian Islands Department of Planning and Natural Resources had issued a stop work order and began reviewing potential violations. Epstein then reaches out directly to then the newly elected governor, Democrat Albert Bryan Jr. Look at this exchange between the two. Epstein complained about potential fines, and Bryan said he spoke to John Pierre Orell, that is the commissioner of the department, who they're calling JP in these texts, and he asked him, Bryan said he had asked him to, quote, hold everything until he and the attorney spoke to me. Later, Epstein complains that the same commissioner, JP, was, quote, going after me in the press, to which Bryan responded that he had asked the commissioner to recuse himself. And then in another subsequent message, Bryan wrote, I asked him to recuse himself and concede on all previous permit requests. Now, the documents don't show what.
I mean, this is the beginning of this relationship, which obviously led to so much further scrutiny that there was like a legal case against the islands. So it's not, this is stuff that isn't even new information, really. Like, this is stuff that we know about because there was a separate court case against the Virgin Islands already. They've been, they were, like, Jeffrey Epstein was basically running the show over there. It's pretty fucked up. I guess it doesn't hurt that there's like even more confirmation now in the public eye, but this is something that we've covered before.
Ultimately change. But what they do show is this: there was an active regulatory dispute. Epstein was communicating directly with the governor of the territory, and the governor was telling him that he was intervening on his behalf. Later, when Brian...
If you were to speculate when in his life do you think Epstein was tapped and recruited by intelligence, I think like right before the Iran-Contra affair, like right when he got into Bear Stearns the first time. Like, I don't know exactly what point in his life where his career changed so dramatically, but I think it was fairly early on, because he went from working under Bill Barr's dad at a New York school as like a math teacher in the Dalton school to being on the floor at Bear Stearns. And at that point, and that was Bill Barr's dad who gave him the job at the Dalton school, for the record. Bill Barr, the attorney general under Trump. Like when Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison under the watchful gaze of Bill Barr, there were connections between Bill Barr and Jeffrey Epstein far before then. Bill Barr's dad was Jeffrey Epstein's boss, the principal at the Dalton School in New York.
Was asked under oath in a 2023 deposition whether he had received Epstein received any special favors or treatment from him. He answered repeatedly and simply no.
All right, Andrew. Obviously, your reporting is very illuminating on that front, and also shows this is not just a few text messages. Okay, so when again we get to power and how he was wielding it.
3 months worth of text messages.
3 months
January. And they end in June, and obviously Epstein is then arrested in July.
The detained Columbia student posted that she's free. She follows you on IG. Let me see if we can reach out to her and talk to her about what happened. This is a Columbia student with 106,000 followers, as a matter of fact, that was apprehended. On Wednesday, almost a year after DHS agents took Mahmoud Khalil from his residency, Columbia students rallied on campus to demand the school protect them from ICE. Hours later, DHS took another student from a Columbia residential building, and Eli Ayeva, the Columbia student detained by ICE this morning, has been released and just posted this on our Instagram. Comes after New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani expresses concern on the arrest to Donald Trump in a meeting just earlier. She said, "Hi guys, I am so grateful for every one of you. I just got out a little while ago. I'm safe and okay. I'm in an Uber on the way back home. I'm so sorry, but I'm in complete shock over what happened, and my phone is blowing up with calls from reporters. Need a little bit of time to process everything, but I will come back soon. But please don't worry. I love you all." They got a Dame influencer. Yeah, I mean, that's probably part of the reason why. She probably was on some lists. If you attract any attention whatsoever to like any of these like Canary Mission style operations, the DHS will come and grab you. It's very clear, and it's fucking insane. Yes, this is the Columbia student that was nabbed on Wednesday. Fucking insane. Thank you so much.
Man, take care.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
All right.
And thank your mom for that.
Of course. All right. I'm gonna be doing the Fear M podcast in a little bit, but that was Ben Rose, everybody. All right, here it is. Let me just zoom in on myself here. W guest. We went on for a very long time, a lot longer than I thought we would. Hopefully we didn't strike Iran in the process while we were having this conversation, because that was like a very real fear that I had. And yeah, I hope that was informative for you. I think you weren't joking. He's dope as fuck. Yes. No, he is. Dude, when he was in the White House, I'm telling you, they jokingly people would jokingly refer to him as Ben Hamas Rose because of how critical he was of Israel. This was one of the best interviews you've done. Props, man. Really informative. Really enjoyed the interview. Yeah, because it's my field of interest. American foreign policy, American imperialism is the one area that I diverge from many of my counterparts, especially on the internet side of things. It's also the area that I'm most knowledgeable in, and it's also the area where I just get attacked the most. Because of my unorthodox perspective, and my unorthodox perspective that you know happens to center the victims of American imperialism rather than the necessity for American imperialism. Here's a graphic of everything that listeners will now own. Jesus Christ, dude. Netflix is deciding to raise their bid to buy Warner Bros. Paramount is now expected to acquire the studio. Say bye-bye to woke Superman. Nathan Fielder was right all along about Paramount. True. Potential CNN-CBS merger. Amid employee concerns about the potential merging of CBS News and And CNN, the Ellison's making significant programming changes at CNN. Chief Executive Mark Thompson sent out a memo to employees urging caution. Thompson wrote, despite all speculation you've read during this process, I'd suggest that you don't jump to conclusions about the future until we know more. And secondly, let's not forget our duty to our audience. We're still near the start of what is an incredibly newsy year at home and abroad, one that will culminate with critical U.S. midterm elections and who knows what else. Let's continue to focus on delivering the best possible journalism to the millions of people who rely on us all around the world. Trump has told people that Larry Ellison assured him that he would make the media companies more conservative if he is able to buy the media companies. Dude, this is Turkification, man. This is Turkey. It's crazy. It's strange. It's strange watching it unfold in real time. By the way, within the past hours, Pakistan defense minister declares open war with Afghan Taliban. Wait, what the fuck? Pakistan attacked Afghanistan. Pakistan strikes Kabul and Kandahar as Afghan Taliban escalate cross-border attacks. What? Another thing that happened, at least one American citizen and another injured in Cuba speedboat shooting, U.S. official says. Wait, another one? Injured by Cuban officials intercepting a speedboat off his coast on Wednesday? Is this yesterday? No, this is yesterday. Border guard shot. Yeah. This is yesterday. No. This is yesterday. This is just updates on yesterday's story. Yeah. They were U.S. citizens. They were terrorists. They were straight up fucking American Cubans that wanted to go do terrorism in Cuba. And it's not like they hid it either. They just straight up, if you look at their social media profile, they, like one of the guys that was on the boat, their social media profile just very clearly shows that they were trying to, foment like, some sort of war against the Cuban government. God damn, we had so much to talk about. Is everyone here? Okay. The interview took a lot out of me, chat. I'm not gonna lie. It was fantastic though. It was really good. I thought it was very, very good. I hope you guys got a lot out of that too. All right, we're done with fucking. I can't believe I spent so much goddamn time on Tyler Hitler Vera. Some info. Pakistan has been bombing Kabul and Afghan positions consistently for the past few months, and Afghanistan invaded earlier today, taking border posts. Pakistan has retaliated big, and it looks like open war. Pakistan has been frustrated with perceived indifference on behalf of the Afghan Taliban towards letting the Pakistani Taliban operate inside its borders. Green and Reform 2 close call, but shows the end of the two-party system in the UK. Votes being counted in Gorton and Denton by-election. Greens say this by-election shows they're here to replace Labour. Another HasanAbi head seizing power. You love to see it. Okay. Rapid fire. Let's talk about Iran.
Chance for diplomacy
more.
Before a potential new American attack on Iran. President Trump is trying to push Iran into signing a deal to give up its nuclear program. Iran's government has threatened widespread retaliation for any new airstrikes. Charlie D'Agata is in Israel, which could get caught in any crossfire.
Indirect talks began this morning in Geneva with Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, heading up negotiation. Iran's nuclear program may be the focus of today's meetings, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio says it goes beyond that.
Iran possesses a very large number of ballistic missiles, particularly short-range ballistic missiles that threaten the United States and our bases in the region.
Last June, during the 12-day war with Iran, Israeli residents experienced firsthand Iran's capabilities. A CBS News camera captured the moment missiles penetrated Israel's vaunted Iron Dome air defense system and U.S. interceptors, striking residential neighborhoods.
This is just a hint of the aftermath. These buildings bore the brunt of it, but you really have to take a 360 look. Between the shrapnel and the pressure of the blast, the damage is everywhere. And this is in the heart of Tel Aviv, one of Israel's most populated cities.
Adi Gaffney lives in an adjacent apartment block. That must have been terrifying.
It was insane. It really was insane, and I cannot explain it with words enough. At some point, we just had, heard and felt like a boom.
U.S. forces were given advance warning of the Iranian missile attack on America's largest base in the Middle East last summer, but even then had to respond with the single biggest deployment of Patriot missiles in U.S. history, the Pentagon said.
Now, all eyes on those last-ditch talks in Geneva. Iran's foreign minister said he's hopeful a deal can be reached. U.S. officials I spoke with this morning say President Trump has been given a number of options that are ready to go if diplomacy fails and he decides to take military action. Gail?
All right, Charlie Daggett reporting from Tel Aviv. Thank you.
Here in Jerusalem,
He said, bye-bye, Israel? I mean, I don't think so. Oh, we didn't even get to the fucking... Oh, God, the Mamdani thing. There's so much going on in the fucking world, bruh. Oh, my God. Inside this latest Trump-Mamdani meeting, last time the two met, Trump asked him to return with his ideas to build big things. Mamdani came back with a massive housing proposal. Mamdani's team created mock headlines to show Trump how such a project would be received. He was very enthusiastic. Oh, my God, they made it themselves. Oh, my God, he knows how to work the goddamn room so well. That's crazy. Mamdani pushed for a release of Columbia student detained today. Trump calls him later to tell him she's being released. Mamdani gives Susie Wiles a list of 4 other students he wants to help with, all targeted in pro-Palestinian protests. God, what a goddamn G, dude. I fucking brings a tear to my eye. I swear to God. What a fucking... Oh, so good. Oh. A better world is possible. A better world is possible, dude. What else? What else do you say? I know Mahmoud is one of the names. I know. Mamdani also gave White House, the Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, a list of 4 other students targeted by federal authorities and asked for the administration to help with them. 4 students are Mahmoud Khalil, Yoon Seo Chung, Mohsen Mahdawi, which I think has already had his charges dropped, if I'm not mistaken, and Lika Cordia. He tangled the keys in front of the baby, and the baby was very happy. Yeah, I know she's been released. Elmina Agayeva has been released. I already DM'd her to see if she'd come on the broadcast. If he can get Lika out of detention, it would be fucking spectacular. I don't personalize politicians, by the way. Good W's, though, regardless. Man, you also got to fucking cling on to hope, man. You got to cling on to hope. Bro, I talked to him with regular frequency and I was still worried, okay? You know what I mean? Because you never know. You never know. You never know with these motherfuckers. They're politicians at the end of the day. You know what I mean?